Hi, welcome back to Joe's RC Corner, and today we're going to be back on the SIG Something Extra, so stay tuned, and we'll see what we can get done with it today. Okay, guys, so like I said, we're back on the SIG Something Extra. I got a few things done on it. I was out of town this last week, but I had to make some corrections to the way that everything was fitting on here. I'm not extremely happy with how this turned out here, but it's going to have to do. The lines are, they're okay, but we'll see how that all works out. Now, one of the things that I had to make adjustments on is the way that the main hatch fit on here. Originally, it had a pin in the back. It wasn't really fitting properly with the peg and everything, and it wasn't sitting down perfectly flat. So, went ahead and modified that. I added magnets here to the back half of it, and we already had the magnet up here in the front. So, I got that magnet there. I added another plate here with 2 more magnets. So now fits perfectly, looks great on there. I could pick up the airplane with it, so we're good to go. Now the front hatch, we have that single magnet up here in the front. Probably should have went with a double magnet, but I don't believe it's going to go anywhere. I have a tongue in the back here that's going to slip into the back, and it fits down in place. A little bit of sanding needs to be done just to make sure that fits up here along this groove nicely. But other than that, it's looking really nice there. One of the other things that I went ahead and we made some changes to, get this off here, is remember I was mentioning previously that the landing gear was going to be a little bit short for the size prop that I want to utilize on this airplane. So let me take this out of the way here. We can take a look at how it sits. So I was going to order the landing gear for the for the ARF version of this. Unfortunately, SIG's out of stock, so I wasn't able to get one. But I read online there are a couple other guys that have turned these into electric and added the larger prop to it. So they went ahead and ordered the Dubro Extreme gear. It's about the same size as the ARF version of this kit. So went ahead and got these. They're nylon filled or glass filled nylon. They're curved just like on the real ones or on the original landing gear, so that's going to look nice on there still. And they're already a little bit off-white. So I'm going to have to make some new holes here for the other bolts. But other than that, we're good to go there as well. So that's looking nice. So I'm going to go ahead and remove these. We're going to get some sanding done because I had some filler on here on the side that's now perfect, that's now dry, that I can go ahead and sand. Same with this other side over here. So we're going to go ahead and get that started, and we'll be right back. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take the landing gear and the motor off and the tail wheel, so that way we can go ahead and start sanding this. So we'll get this on the stand, and we'll start removing some of these parts. Okay, so as you can see in time lapse, what I was doing was I went ahead and painted the inside of the canopy here, so that's all black now. We'll let that set aside and let that dry. Nice thing about the magnets, I can hang it over there and let it dry. Now the other thing I did is I painted the inside of the inside there. So that's all nice and black. That'll be sealed. Then the motor will be mounted inside that area. So that'll take care of that. Next thing we're going to be working on is the 3/32 inch balsa sheeting that's going to go between the stringers here on the back end and the front half, because that's going to help support the covering as I get it glued on. So let me go ahead and get those pieces started, and we'll move on. Okay, so now as you can see, what I did is I've got this extra piece right in here, and I'm gonna already glued it in. Now I'm just sanding it to make sure that it matches the lines here, just like that. Now it's smooth in there. Now what this piece is going to do is when I add the covering onto the stringers here, this gives the end a little bit more to grab onto here. So right over here, right here, and then I'm going to add another piece here and all the way around, same as that. And then up here, up this end, we got to do the same thing, only it's going to be done with scalloped. So it's going to have a little scalloped edge here on all of these. So we're going to go ahead and finish these up here, and we'll get this all completed. Okay, so now as you can see, if I can get the focus. Now as you can see, that piece is now capped. So that'll give my covering something to bite back there on the trailing edge of the turtle deck. So we're going to go around and we're going to do the top and the front section here. And then we'll work on some final sanding, and then we're ready to start covering the tail feather sections of the aircraft, and ready to move on and finish it up. She's looking really good. I'm really happy with how this is coming out so far. Okay guys, so off camera I went ahead and I finished up a few things here. So we got the scalloped edges all around the turtle deck here. And so now I have nice surfaces to get the covering to adhere to along here. All right, so that part's done. I also painted the inside of where the motor is going to be mounted. And then I also covered it with, went ahead and did a coat of the water-based polyurethane on there. So that way it's sealed. I'm not worried about fuel, but it just keeps it nice and clean and sealed there. Went ahead and I shaped up the canopy. So now it fits that deck, or the canopy area. And also trimmed it with the red, since this section here is going to be red. And I wanted that to overlap a little bit. So that way I will be able to put a piece of tape under there and I can lift it off easier without trying to squeeze the canopy all the time. The other things that I just finished up, I have here the hatch has now been painted, and then I cleared it with the water-based poly, and I put a black line where I'm going to be mounting this on here. So that way I can have a glare shield inside there as well once the canopy is glued in place. And then I might continue some red around this ledge here, but we'll do that after it's glued on and set in place. So this is just set aside here, letting that dry. And I also did one more coat of the water-based poly on the front hatch as well, so that's ready to be covered. So the next step, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get everything lined up, and we're going to start covering some of the tail feathers here. So I mounted everything temporarily onto the fuselage, and then I marked out where I'm going to need my covering to stop. I'm going to go over that line just a little bit on both sides, but that way I have an area for the wood for the glue to adhere to on here. So that's all set, ready to go as well. So let me go ahead and reposition the camera, and I'm going to go ahead and bring it in a little bit closer so you can see me doing a little bit of the covering on here. So stay tuned, guys. Okay, guys, so I got my iron heating up. Don't ask what the temperature is. I just kind of wing it. But I got my covering here lined out for one of the rudders. So I went ahead and I ordered a little bit more covering here. I ordered some checkers that were 1 1/4 inch to do the tail feathers on the bottom of the elevator, and also the rudder. I'm going to do the 1 1/4 inch checkers on the bottom of that. A little bit of that residue from the masking tape that they used to tape it together. So, all right, we'll get that off of there. And again, guys, this covering that I got for this is from a place called valuehobby.com. It's a good price for this covering, and it comes in huge rolls, more than enough to do multiple airplanes from one roll. So it's definitely worth checking them out and seeing what covering they might have that you might like for your next project. So let me go ahead and start with the rudder here. Okay, guys, so welcome back to Joe's RC Corner. This is going to be day 2 of the covering of the stabs and finishing up of the aircraft. So yesterday, I went ahead and finished up covering the rudder. I did it in the 1 1/4 inch checkerboards from the cover with the covering again from valuehobby.com. It's a new cover is the name of the brand. It's a really nice covering. Works really well. Goes around curves nicely. So definitely worth checking these guys out. I'll put the link in the description for you guys. So today we're going to go ahead and start covering the elevator, and this is basically going to be checkers on the bottom and white on the top, just like on the wing. And then we're going to get the horizontal stabilizer and the rudder and the vertical stabilizer, sorry, and get those covered as well. And the horizontal is going to be very similar to the wing with the white and the red and blue pinstripe. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get everything broken out, and we're going to start covering this, okay? We're going to bring the camera in a little bit closer so you can see what I'm doing here on the bench, and we'll get started. Stay tuned, guys. Okay, guys, so what we're going to start off with here is the elevator. So we're going to go ahead and pull all the hinges, put those aside so we don't lose them. Okay, now those are put off to the side. I need to double check to make sure which side is the top and bottom here. So let me grab the horizontal stabilizer. Oh yeah, and I did cover these already too. These are the fairings that go on either side of the elevator connecting to, or I'm sorry, the horizontal to the vertical stabilizer section. So those are already pre-covered, ready to be glued in place. bottom of the elevator is now covered. Still needs to be shrunk here in between, but we'll get that. All right, bottom of the elevator's done. And I will get this cleaned up with some alcohol here in a second. Let this all cleared off again. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and do the bottom of the elevator as well. That way I can get these checkers to match right now. That way I don't have to worry about it later. So we can go ahead and get those matched up with the bottom of the elevator. Then we can go back around, flip it all over, and do the other side as well. So let's go ahead and do that next. We're going to go ahead and get the checkerboards here. We're going to match up the checkers to the elevator. Okay, just like that. All right, so I'm going to do the other half of it off camera, and we'll come back when we start doing the top half. All right, guys, stay tuned.